Legend of legends. Quincy Jones, producer and composer. He has 27 Grammy Awards, more than anyone else alive. As a child, he ran with Gangsters. As a man, he recorded the most successful album ever. He has worked with everyone from Michael Jackson to Frank Sinatra and Ray Charles.
I've got you.
Internationally renowned, he's been made a Knight of Arts and Letters here in France. Let's meet the kingmaker of pop. Quincy Jones, it's a pleasure.
My pleasure.
To talk to you. You've been officially recognised by the French government for your contribution to arts.
It's the second time. It's amazing.
It's amazing. You're a knight here in France.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
It means everything, honey. It means nothing like having the passion and affection balance. I feel the same way about this country and this city too. I feel like this is my second home.
It was your home for a while,
yes,
back in the 50s.
Yes, it was. And I almost gave up my passport. Yeah, it's just an amazing place and so much influence, so much influence. Life, wine, everything.
During that time, and it wasn't long between you were lunching with Pablo Picasso, you were hanging out with...
We lived next door to him in Cannes,
really?
In California, when he was with Jacqueline. It's amazing. It really is amazing. All of it, but think about Henri Salvador and Charles Aznavour, who I still hang out with. I was with him and Jack Lang at the Chez L'Ami Louis. You ever go to Chez L'Ami Louis?
No, never.
Why? That's the best restaurant in France.
You have to take me.
Huh? Okay. It's near the Pompidou. You've never been there?
No.
Oh, come on.
And you used to hang out with Brigitte Bardot. Tell me about your memories of those times, those years in the 50s. What was it like
How
here?
can you forget that? We went over Eddie. She was one of our artists on Barclay Records, and Eddie. I was staying with Eddie when we lived next door to Picasso. Eddie Barclay, and he says we have to go meet one of your artists, Bridget, and that's the year 1957 when all the women took their brassieres off. Remember that? So the American has to get used to that, It was all just fantastic. Juliette Greco and just Salvador and all these incredible people. Sacha Distel and Barney Villan and Pierre Michelot. My house orchestra was the Duplessis, with Ward Swingle and Mimi Perrin, and Christine Legrand. Michel Legrand did arrangement on his first song. And
it was while you were in France that you first worked with Frank Sinatra?
Yes, down in Monaco.
How did that come about?
Well, I came into the office in New York, and they called, and they said Grace Kelly's office called, and Mr. Sinatra wanted me to bring my house orchestra down, which is 55 musicians, the Duplessis, Stephen Grappelli, Kenny Clark on drums, Lucky Thompson, and Don Bias on tenor, and it was unbelievable, And so we took all of them down by train to the Sporting Club, and we played for Sinatra. That's the first time in 1958. And Albert was born right after that, Prince Albert. And I didn't know whether it registered to him. He said, "Great job, kid, cuckoo." And 4 years later, I get a call, and he says, "Q." It's the first time anybody ever called me Q. He says, "I'm in Hawaii, in Kauai, directing a film called None But the Brave, but I heard the records you did with Basie on Bart Howard's, in other words, Whistles of Waltz. And he said, "I'd like you to do it in 4/4. And he said, "Would you consider doing a record with Basie and I?" But Basie had adopted me at 13 years old, so I said, "Absolutely, indubitablement."
Let me see what life is like on...
We got together then, and I was with him all the rest of his life. He left this ring when he left. He wore this for 40 years. That's his family crest for Sicily. And one of the greatest experiences in my life was working with Sinatra. And they played the first record, and he played it on the moon in 1969, the first music on the moon. You believe that? I'm not going there. And it's just been insane when you look back, because I never looked back before. But when you get 80, you say, how the hell did I live this long, Whew. It's incredible.
I don't have very long with you. I've got so much to ask you. I just wanted to pick a few moments to go back over. You grew up in Chicago, in the ghetto.
Right, I wanted to be a gangster.
What happened to that dream?
Because I saw dead bodies and Tommy guns and piles of money. My daddy was a carpenter for the most notorious gangsters, the Jones boys, black gangsters in Chicago in the 30s during the Depression. And they made $110 million in 1941, and Capone ran them out of the city to Mexico. My father put my brother and I on a trailway bus, and we went to the Northwest. And in the Northwest, that's where I met Ray Charles when I was 14. He was 17, and we spent our whole life together. And it just one thing happened after another. Billie Holiday, Billy Eckstine, it's just insane. You know, things you couldn't plan if your life depended on it. It just happens, and boom, boom. And I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to work with every major artist in the history of America. All of them. Aretha, Ella, Billie Holiday. It's ridiculous. Shirley Horn, you know, Tony Bennett, Simon Franklin, Michael Jackson. It's crazy.
I have to ask you about
that.
Michael Jackson.
You can't plan that, you know.
Because I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 80s.
Oh, no, you're a baby.
But those were the hits for me, Beat It and Billie Jean, all the Michael Jackson hits. You worked on the album, the best-selling album of all time.
Yeah, Thriller.
Thriller.
We did. Well, we started with The Wiz, and then we did Off the Wall, and we did an E.T. background for Steven Spielberg, who we just met. He was doing E.T. then when I was doing Thriller. And we did Thriller, and then We Are the World, and Bad.
Tell me about in that recording studio. I mean, what was that magic between you? Describe it.
Well, you know, number one, it has to be love and trust, or you can't make a good record. You cannot do it, because I always tell all the guys in the studio, let's always leave room for God to walk through the studio, because when you're making a record, it's something you have to make for yourself first that moves you and gives you goosebumps. And then hopefully it'll give a lot of other people goosebumps. We had no idea it would be that many, though. You don't know. You can't, anybody says that, they're not telling the truth, you know. You just do what you do, the best thing, and hope that it communicates to a lot of people.
And is it true that he brought his snake into the studio?
Oh, he had a snake and a chimpanzee, too. Bubbles and Muscles. Now, you know I wasn't crazy about that, because one day I looked up and the snake had my leg wrapped around a chair, squeezing it, you know. Muscles. I'm not into snakes or chimpanzees. He bit my daughter's hand.
Oh, not such a good
He
memory.
was just playing, you know. But that's my daughter.
And you also masterminded the biggest hit of all time, We Are the World. With 40-odd superstars.
You know how that happened? I did a record just before Thriller with Donna Summer. And we had a song on that called State of Independence. And on that, it had 16 bars of a chorus. Now, at that time, everything we were doing was working. So I said, I want to have the best choir that's on the planet. And I had Stevie, Lionel, Michael Jackson, Diana, and all. I had 1/3 of We Are the World on that. That's why they called me.
I'd love to have a look at your mobile phone. Have you got every famous person in the world's phone number in your contact list in your phone?
I don't know. No, it's pretty crazy, though. It is. It really is. And it just happens, you know. You don't aim at it. You really don't. You can't plan any of this. And now, as you get older, you get mature enough to understand that it's just like divine intervention from up there. You can't plan it. You can't plan working with Sinatra. You can't do that. It doesn't work like that. Or with Michael either, because we started on The Wiz when he was talking about his album. I said, you don't have a song. You don't even have a song in the movie yet, man. I don't want to talk about an album, you know. And then finally we got You Can't Win. You ever see The Wiz?
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't have that song with the Crows. It wasn't in the movie. You know, and they didn't know, they didn't get Michael then.
So when you look back, you're 81 now. When you look back, could you pick someone who is your favorite person to work with, a favorite moment?
You gotta be kidding, honey. No, are you crazy? No way, how? What? Come on, Ray Charles and Ella, Sarah, Sinatra, Aretha Franklin, impossible, impossible. It's impossible. They're all individuals and different. And they have a totally different essence, you know. They do.
What about...
And in England, I spent a lot of time in England, you know. Things that I know you don't even know about. Do you know Jake Thackeray?
No.
Bloody, bloody doll. And Michael taught me Cockney.
Go on then, let's hear your best
Caine.
Cockney, go on.
I can do it in Paris, because you can say anything on TV here. Watch the boat on the ice cream when he checks out the bristles on the Richard. See, people, the corny people say Gregory Pecks and whistling flutes and all that kind of stuff, but that's corny. The real guys on the East Side don't say the rhyming word at all.
Would you say that you personify the American dream? Do you think you're an example of it?
Beyond, honey, because it's not the American dream, it's worldwide. The whole thing is, I've been introduced to 26 languages. I'm doing Mandarin now, writing and speaking, and Arabic. But, you know, I was into languages a long time ago, and it ran when I was 22. And Persian and Beshkam and all this stuff. Because the culture, and I'm frustrated by it because America's the only country that doesn't have a minister of culture. And the culture is the music, the food, and the language. They all are the same thing.
And why don't you have a chat with Barack Obama and ask him about being the Minister of Culture?
But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do a government job. No way. We've got a 400-person consortium to develop the definitive American music curriculum because the kids don't know a damn thing about it. They have no idea what the culture's about. The rappers don't know where they came from. They really don't. They think it's 1971. It's not true. I was rapping in Chicago when I was 5 years old, 1939. We were doing the Dirty Dozens, the Signifying Monkey, and Titanic, and all that stuff. I was 5 years old. It didn't start then. It goes back to the Mbangi praise shout of South Africa and the griots of West Africa, you know. But I've done my homework. And even in Brazil, where Angola was in charge, Macumba, the voodoo, they had capoeira, which was a martial art. That's where the breakdance came from. But they should know this, you know, the real, if you know where you come from, it's easy to get where you're going, you know.
Any sign of you slowing down?
No, not a chance, honey. I'm just starting. We're doing 10 movies, 6 albums, and 4 Broadway shows right now, and my foundation, which my foundation is my first love for children all over the world. ENCORE, Soweto, the favelas. We're doing a film in Brazil next year for the favelas and Katrina. And I love that, coming together. I really do.
Coming together. It's been nice to come together with you,
You
Quincy.
too, honey.
Lovely to
Beautiful
meet you.
lady.
Thank you so much.
You too.